All right, everybody, welcome back. This is episode 25 of the train station. If you're new here, I'm A Train, and joining me is Derrell as usual. He's only here for a
Hello.
couple more episodes, so we're gonna make sure that this is the best quality content we can give you before he ends up taking off. We have a lot to talk about yesterday, man. Let me tell you. Michigan State turned out to be an absolutely beautiful game of football. One of the best football games I've seen all year. Just from a fan perspective, that's not saying, one team or the other, but just from a football fan perspective, one of the best games I've seen all year.
You could go as far as to call it poetry.
It was just a great game of football. Unfortunately, Jim Harbaugh has done it again. Chokes away games when they matter most. This is now year 7. After yesterday's loss, as they lose, he is now 3-4 versus MSU, 0-6 versus Ohio State, soon to be 0-7. Because after yesterday, I have literally, if they would have won yesterday, I might have had a little bit of confidence that this is the year. But there's no chance. This is not the year. So 3-4 versus Michigan State, 0-6 versus Ohio State, soon to be 0-7. That makes you 3-9 versus your biggest rivals.
Well, actually, he's already 3-9. He'll be 3-10 coming December.
Correct. My math is wrong. My bad. Yes. He'll be 3-10 versus, in 7 years, you'll be 3-10 versus your two biggest rivals. Unacceptable.
He's got to go.
The seat's getting warmer there, bud. He's able to, I don't know what, go ahead and give your thoughts and opinions on this, but it's inexcusable to be 3-10 versus your two biggest rivals in 7 years.
Absolutely unacceptable. I know a lot of people are probably wondering, why am I wearing Michigan? Well, I'm actually a Michigan fan. Even though I went to Michigan State, yeah, but still, it's America. I can like who I like. And after yesterday's loss, I'm like, you know what? I had it. This guy needs to go. I'm not surprised if Harbaugh is not number one on the hot seat, but number one hot seat for college football coaches, according to coacheshotseat.com. Scott Frost takes number one. Number 2 is Seth Littrell from North Texas. And number 3 is Justin Fuente from Virginia Tech. It's crazy. Harbaugh's not even in the top 10 for hot seat, but right now, he is number 1 for me. He needs to be bought out. He's got to go.
Yeah, those lists that you named, Scott Frost, it's not his fault. Like, if you look at his record at Nebraska, he's had like 20-something one-score games. At what point, when do you start blaming the players for being awful? Like, Scott Frost has them prepared, and, he took over a really, really bad team, and now they're continuing to work. So I don't think Scott Frost is anywhere near the hot seat. Fuentes, I could see, yeah.
Yeah, but
and then Jim Harbaugh should absolutely be number 1.
Yes, he is also now 2 for 13. He's 2 wins, 13 losses against AP top 10 teams.
And I'm pretty sure both of them were Penn State, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct.
Because
actually, I think one was Penn State, the other was Notre Dame, I believe.
Yes, Notre Dame. Yes, correct. Okay. But yeah, because Penn State and Michigan seem to go back to back. Yeah, so Jim Harbaugh, he's had his chance. Like, this is year 7, and it's the same thing. Like, the team has so much talent. It's Michigan, just the fact that it's the University of Michigan, they're going to grab talent alone. We've talked about this in the past. It's the University of Michigan. You're going to get talent because you're University of Michigan. There's no excuse that these 4 and 5 star guys are losing to a second-year head coach that had to use the transfer portal to find most of his team. Because when Mark D'Antonio left MSU, he left it an absolute disaster.
Hey, Mel Tucker. I guess Tuck coming. Which is stupid.
Mel Tucker has been a decent coach for them, but there's no reason in year 2 that MSU looks like a better team than the University of Michigan in year 7 of Jim Harbaugh. Inexcusable that year 2 of a new coach replacing pretty much the entire team looks better than Harbaugh.
Can't believe I'm saying it. Tuck coming, like Omar from The Wire.
Yeah, Tuck coming to LSU.
Shotgun.
Tuck coming to LSU
Or USC.
No, he ain't leaving Michigan State. I just said that to get it out there.
Know.
It wouldn't surprise me if he does take the LSU job, but he's not leaving MSU, not with what he's building. But yeah, so yeah, year 2. Look at what Mel Tucker's done. Beat him last year as a 21.5-point underdog. You go into Ann Arbor and you absolutely beat them. Michigan was unprepared, per usual. And let's recap this game a little bit because people were saying that it was the refs that lost Michigan the game.
Blaming on ref ball. It's not ref ball.
I want to know your opinion. I want to know your opinion on some of the calls. I'm going to go over some of the controversy calls and you give me your opinion on them. I'll give you what I thought initially.
Well, I caught the first quarter and
that's it. So you didn't
half of the second. Yeah, I was on the plane coming back from Disney World.
So first quarter, controversy arose when Kenneth Walker's first touchdown was. He fumbled the ball at the goal line, and they said that it was in, that he didn't fumble, but obviously I think he was crossed the plane before the ball started coming out. The next big controversy, there was a sack by the Michigan defense where Peyton Thorne went down. The ball ended up in the end zone. Michigan recovered for a touchdown. And I had initially thought, before I even seen the fumble, that he was down by contact and that, they just let the play run just in case there was a fumble, that there could be a full clear recovery. But I actually thought that he was down initially, and Michigan fans weren't happy about that. They thought that it should have been a touchdown. After looking at the replay, his shin was down, but if you're not going to overturn the Kenneth Walker touchdown, you can't overturn that. There was not enough video evidence to physically say that he was down before the ball came out. While I think he was, like I said, there was not enough video evidence to turn that Michigan touchdown away. Okay. Later on in the game, I've even talked to my Sparty friends and they agree. 4th down, Michigan's got the ball. Dudes literally collide with each other, causing pass interference. No call. No call at all. In the end zone, dudes all over him. McNamara is forced to overthrow it. No call. So while there were controversial calls, the refs were not the reason Michigan lost that ball game yesterday. Regardless if they had 7 points or 4 points taken off the board, which that was the difference, obviously, was the 4 points. But regardless if they had the 4 points taken off the board or not, they did not lose that game. You are up with the ball, with no momentum coming into the second half. You choke it away. You get outscored 28-10 in the second half. Like, come on.
Well, yeah.
That's not on the refs. That's on being unprepared, per usual, when it comes to a Harbaugh game. Yeah, because in the second half, Michigan State wanted some tempo. Well, the defensive coordinator comes from the Baltimore Ravens. The NFL doesn't use tempo the way college uses tempo. Both teams sub packages in and out. So he's so used to changing guys in and out that they got caught off guard multiple times in the second half trying to sub. When Michigan State didn't sub, it's like, you can't do that. You're only going to be able to sub when Michigan State subs. So yeah, you might not have the right personnel out there, but you're going to have to deal with it for a play or two. Mm-hmm. So that was, of course, bad coaching. And then you're up by 16 points. So what do? Instead of continuing to air it out, put points on the board, let's get conservative. Typical Harbaugh team. Let's get conservative with the lead. No, you're up 16. Make it 26. Make it 36. Pour it on teams. You think Alabama up 16 is satisfied? You think Nick Saban, when he's up 16, is satisfied? Absolutely
Nope.
not. He's still throwing the ball deep, pouring it on them. You think Ryan Day's happy up 16 points? Absolutely not. He's still pouring it on them. Why does Jim Harbaugh get so conservative with the lead? It makes absolutely no sense. You cannot get conservative in a rivalry game up however many points it is. Georgia didn't slow down when they absolutely whooped Florida yesterday. They didn't slow down from scoring. They kept it, and they kept their foot on the gas.
Yeah,
when Ohio State plays Michigan later in the year and they're up 35-7, you think they're taking their foot off the gas? Absolutely not. They're going for 70. And I think that's the difference between a good team and a great team. The great teams keep their foot on the gas. The good teams put their foot on the brake. And that's what Harbaugh did yesterday with the lead. He got too comfortable, thought that, if we run the ball, take some time off the clock, we're going to get out of here with the W. Clearly, in 7 years that he's been head coach at the University of Michigan, he's learned nothing. And now I get the argument, it's like, okay, if you fire Harbaugh, who's going to replace him? Does it actually matters? Somebody who's not going to be 3-4 and 0-7 against Ohio State, Michigan State in 7 years.
He's got a better James Franklin.
Absolutely not. I do not want James Franklin anywhere near the University of Michigan. He can stay at Penn State. He can take Harbaugh with him. In fact, the NFL, can you take Harbaugh back? I'm done with Harbaugh. And if it was up to me, I would personally drive 15 hours to Ann Arbor to fire him myself.
But who's got it better than us?
Everybody, literally Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, maybe not this year, but Clemson, LSU, Auburn, Ole Miss, Oklahoma State. Should I go on?
Ed Orgeron, he can come and take over Michigan.
He's taking a break from coaching.
Yeah,
which that's a topic for a different day because the SEC is a completely different monster, as we've talked about, where we would rather be a head coach in the last episode. But yeah, I'm personally done with Jim Harbaugh. I have been on the fire Harbaugh train for 3 years now, and everybody's like, oh, give it time. He's still trying to build a team. What's the excuse in year 7 now? Nobody believed me 3 years ago when I said this dude has got to go.
Well, he wasn't able to get better recruits.
He shouldn't. Now listen, he should have beat Ohio State in 2016. That one I completely 1,000% blame on the referees, because JT Barrett was short by 1.5 yards, and it was clearly obvious by anybody with eyes that man was short. So that I don't blame him for. But every other Ohio State loss, every other Michigan State loss, the dude has come out unprepared, unmatched, or outmatched and outcoached. How do you get outcoached by a dude that just got into town? You got outcoached by Mel Tucker, who was a coach at Colorado, who Colorado is god-awful. When he was there, they were terrible. When he left, they were terrible. And now suddenly you're losing to this dude who's not even who doesn't even have great teams. Like, come on, bro.
Jeez. Harbaugh's so inept, he can't even manage.
I called for his head last year. I called for his head the year before that. I've been calling for his head for 3 years, and nobody's believed me. Nobody's been on my side. They're like, give it time, give it time. No, I'm tired of giving it time. How much time do we need to give it? We're 7 years in. Well, how much more time do we have to give it?
Another year. Just give
it. No, there is no another year. That's why when this contract extension that he got, he's actually making way less money than he was. I hope he's fired. If he's not fired by the end of the year, I'm not watching Michigan football next year. I'm not watching Michigan football next year if Jim Harbaugh is still the head coach. I'm tired of it. It's the
I need
exact
the
same thing over and over and over again. They beat up on the small schools. They beat up on the small schools, and then they get to playing the real teams, and Jim Harbaugh looks like a lost puppy or a chicken with his head cut off out there. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Preach, Anthony, preach. We need the black church organ playing. Yes, no more Harbaugh. Get
Harbaugh
someone
out.
better in here.
I'm tired of it. This is year 7. You came in guaranteeing Big Ten championships. You haven't even made it, and it's year 7. Now, I understand the divisions are absolutely lopsided, and they shouldn't be. Because there's no excuse for a 3-loss Wisconsin team to be leader of the other side when you have Penn State, Michigan State, Ohio State, and Michigan on one side. It's ridiculous. That's on the Big Ten. They need to fix the conference, but this is year 7. Harbaugh, you've done nothing as promised. You've delivered nothing but empty hopes and promises. You have to go.
Yeah, it's completely lopsided.
If I have to call the AD of Michigan to get you fired, I will be on the wait line for 4 hours if I have to be. You have to go. You should have been let go. You should have been left in East Lansing, if we're being honest.
You're like, yeah.
You should not have been allowed on the bus back to Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
If I'm people
Jimmy,
in Ann Arbor,
you're gonna need to walk.
if I'm people in Ann Arbor, I'm not accepting you back. I am booing you as soon as you get off the bus. Jim Harbaugh, back to the NFL. I think it's time. I don't even think the NFL wants you at this point. Huge disappointment. I don't know how he goes from Stanford to Michigan and completely gets worse. I don't understand. He does great at Stanford. He goes to the NFL. He makes a Super Bowl. He gets to Michigan. He just can't do it anymore. Is it just his stubbornness and unwillingness to adapt, which is part of the reason Mark D'Antonio left? Because he was unwilling to adapt and his offense got bland and boring? Nick Saban seems to adapt just fine, and Nick Saban's one of the most stubborn people you'll come across.
I've been told this by my stepdad. He used to play for him. But as far as Michigan finding a new coach, know who they should probably go get?
Honestly, I would love for them to get Luke Fickell, but it's never going to happen.
He's definitely up there.
He would be my absolute number 1 choice, but it's not going to happen.
If I was Michigan AD, I'd pick up the phone, call up the Pittsburgh Steelers, drop a big bag of money, get Mike Tomlin.
Ain't no way Mike Tomlin's going to coach the college. He already shut those rumors down.
That's his way of saying, maybe.
Why would he leave the Pittsburgh Steelers for college?
Juju Smith.
He's gone after this year. Juju's gone after this year anyways. He has been one of the most consistently good coaches in the NFL. There's absolutely no chance that man leaves a job like that for Michigan.
What about Urban Meyer?
You mean the guy who won a national championship at Ohio State? Their biggest rival is going to go to the University of Michigan. Come on now. I could see Urban Meyer jolting the NFL for USC, but there is no chance that man goes to Michigan. He's not going to LSU either because he coached at Florida.
Well,
so the only chance that Urban Meyer has is if he goes to USC, which I called when Clay Helton should have been fired 4 years ago. I said that Urban Meyer would go there. So my prediction's still up there, up on the table with that. He still could go to USC and coach there.
Yeah.
Mike Tomlin's not leaving Pittsburgh for a college job. He's just not.
Well,
because as evidence of defense yesterday, most NFL coaches that try to coach college, which is a different game than the NFL, sometimes it's easier, sometimes it's not. You're not ready for it. As evidenced by the Michigan defensive coordinator who came off his brother's staff, looked completely lost out there on defense.
What about Bill O'Brien?
Offense
coordinator, Alabama.
Stop it.
The butt chin returns.
You mean the guy who completely ruined the Houston Texans franchise?
But he took him to the playoffs and he won. But Bill O'Brien
he traded DeAndre Hopkins for a second-round pick and nothing else.
Well, there's no trades in college. There's transfer portals.
What did he do at Penn State? Nothing.
Well, I mean,
This is like
Oh, I
hyping
got
up.
it. So Houston
This is
Texans.
you telling me them to get Bill O'Brien's the same reason that Texas fans wanted Steve Sarkisian last year. What the heck has that man done at Texas? Lose 3 straight games after having a double-digit lead? Come on now.
Or Michigan should go get Pete Carroll. I know he's running
Again,
dry over at Seattle
why would he leave Seattle?
because I know dangerous Wilson is probably going to want out.
So they can be on the phone with Cam Newton. They could trade for Deshaun Watson. They have plenty of options there.
Deshaun Watson can get as many massages as he wants.
I don't know who Michigan's going to get. They got to get away from this whole Michigan man mantra thing, though. I'm tired. Oh, he was affiliated with Michigan somehow. We got to hire him. No, find the best guy for the job. I don't care if he has ties with Michigan or not. Find the best guy for the job. Period.
And I got one more candidate. The head coach of Bishop Sycamore. Go get him.
Like that's like I understand people's argument of who's out there that's better, but it's like it can't get any worse at this point. Because the expectations for the new coach aren't going to be great. The new expectations are literally going to beat Michigan State and once in a while beat Ohio State. That's it. Your expectations aren't going to be a Big Ten championship because we haven't seen it, so we don't expect it.
The only way to go is to beat Ohio State.
All you got to do is start beating the teams that actually matter. Because Michigan plays Penn State coming up. They're not going to win. Penn State looks like a completely different team yesterday than they did the one that lost it. So that's going to be another loss on freaking Jim Harbaugh's record. And they're not even going to be ranked by then.
Yeah.
And then you got Ohio State at the end of the year. How many points are you giving up this year? 65? 70? Ohio State now sees Michigan and they no longer think of it as a rival. They laugh at Michigan and say, oh, these guys again? Like Harbaugh has lost the magic of what Michigan Ohio State was and completely ruined it because he hasn't even been close outside of 1 year.
I'd say it was lost since Brady Hoke.
Brady Hoke beat Ohio State, I beleave.
He'd be a trash 6-6.
Doesn't matter. He beat Ohio State. Ohio State could be 6-5 going into that game this year, and Jim Harbaugh would look like a chicken with his head cut. What do I do? What do I do? I don't know how to coach against these guys. Bro, they run the same. If you've ever watched a Michigan Ohio State game, Ohio State runs 3 plays against Michigan.
It's like Tecmo Bowl out there.
They run 4 verticals, they run slants, and they run it up the middle. That's literally all Ohio State does against Michigan. And it works every single time. It's like me and Madden. I run 3 plays and it works. Ohio State runs 3 plays against Michigan. It works every single time. You're not recruiting as well as Ohio State, but you're on level with Ohio State. You're usually second in the Big Ten in recruiting. There's no excuse to be getting blown out the way you get blown out.
They got J.J. McCarthy, so.
He didn't play well yesterday at all, but Cade McNamara had the game of his life yesterday. I was actually impressed. Well, but Harbaugh has to go, and I will reiterate it one more time. If Jim Harbaugh is head coach of the Michigan Wolverines next year, I'm not watching a game.
That's for me. I will be, I'll be rooting for someone else, maybe. Or I'll be dodging bullets. We don't know.
If Jim Harbaugh is coach of Michigan next year, I hope they go 0-12.
Well, no.
Just like my disdain for the Lions right now. As long as the Fords own the team, I hope they go 0-17 every single year.
Well, that's looking for very
so that the fans learn, because the big house is still going to be packed no matter what. They're like Lions fans. They're retarded. If I'm allowed to say that, if that's the right word. They have mental issues. How about that?
That's more PC, but yeah.
They have mental issues. They continue to go, expecting different results. Harbaugh out. He needs to go. I don't care who replaces him at this point. As long as it's not Brady Hoke, we dealt with that experiment. You can take Josh Gaddis with you, and this defensive coordinator's only been here a year. He's still adjusting, so he can stay. But you can take Josh Gaddis and Jim Harbaugh. You can take them both with you on your way out of Michigan. In fact, if Jim Harbaugh wants to save being booed by Michigan fans, he should go to the AD right now and hand in his pink slip and say, "I'm sorry." And he should apologize to all of us who he had fooled for so many years.
Well, what sucks too is he has no buyout, so he'll just
It's
have to
lower
leave.
than what it was. So they restructured his contract. His contract is much lower, so it's much easier to get rid of him at the end of the year if they choose to do so.
Yeah, I don't know why not.
So I've said everything I could possibly say, and I've said my piece on Harbaugh. Any last words you got?
Nah, this is just he was Bo's captain. That's why they're so ashamed to not want to get rid of him. But honestly, think what's
I
best for the
said they
program.
gotta get rid of this Michigan man mantra. Now it worked in basketball. Juwan Howard has those boys absolutely rolling right now. He's gonna win a national championship within the next 3 years, guaranteed.
Oh, without a doubt.
Jim Harbaugh, Michigan man, just not working. Get away from the Michigan man mantra. Find the best guy for the job. I don't care if it's a female. It could be a female, it could be a male, it could be a black guy, Hispanic guy. I don't care. Find the best guy for the job. Period.
Hey, you need a new black guy. Go up to East Lansing and get
Sorry.
more.
Find the best person for the job, not just guy. It could be a female. Females could coach football too.
Okay, on to the next topic before I say something. All right.
Anyways, like I said, just find the best person for the job. Michigan football, it's a disaster not seeing them at the top every year. It's painful, it's hurtful, and honestly, it's a disgrace.
Okay. Well, here's a nice little quiz, pop quiz, before we end this topic. Who will win? Who will win? Who will win a playoff? Who will get to this first? Will the Lions win a playoff game in the next year or two, or next 5 years, or will Jim Harbaugh or Michigan beat Ohio State within the next 5 years?
I will take my chances with Michigan beating Ohio State before the Lions do anything relevant.
Okay, fair enough.
Anyways, I know I kind of ranted. I don't know if you guys like that or not, but this has been episode 25 of the train station. We're talking Jim Harbaugh and how he needs to get out of Ann Arbor. And you might see very similar shirts as we come back for episode 26 and possibly 27 as well. I will catch you on the next episode. Once again, I'm A-Train. That is Derrell. And watch us. Peace.
Peace.